Hello everyone, Just Podcast TV is here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified on new content.
Episode 362. Not worthy. Big families like to build their base on islands, but not every big family has the right. Strictly speaking, only the major families had the right to do so, such as the Marquez family. Small families like the Angler family could afford to buy land and defend themselves, but they didn't have the right to do so on an island. It was a bit unfair to them. Therefore, they did not have the qualifications to move the base camp of the family onto an island. However, the Mann family obviously had the right to do so. Just like the island where Holden was located, it was the base camp of the Mann family. He had received the latest news. Mark Angler's head had been chopped off from his leg. It didn't matter. Initially, he didn't think highly of Mark Angler. It would only be a loss of face if he was cut off. But at this time, Mark Angler wasn't the only one who had been cut down. He was the one who was killed, including his father. He had never put Minnie in his heart, but Zach had used this woman, who had fallen into dire straits in her own family, to overturn the Angler family. He had also used Minnie to tie the Angler family to the Marquez family's assets. They had not formed an alliance, but this kind of relationship was clearly more secure and reliable than an alliance. Of course, Angelina was an exception. She had to consider the entire Ursa family. So what Zach did was not bad. He directly cheated Angelina. He cheated her openly. Their family had also found out about this through various channels, but there was nothing that they could do about it. At their level, face was more important than any other of the benefits. They did not lack money, nor did they lack power. What was left was a face. Therefore, Holden knew very well that he had to jump even deeper into this matter, even though he knew it was Zach who had dug a trap for him. Unless the Mann family was shameless enough to slap him, he would still have the face to cooperate with him. Was this possible? Obviously not. Holden wanted to retaliate, but that was something that would happen in the future. The real trouble had just arrived. He had already received a call from his grandfather, asking him to go over and have a chat. What was there to talk about? How did he successfully force the two families together? Obviously, this was the only question that could be discussed, so he was very angry. He didn't force him. It was Zach who was playing tricks on him. But in fact, because of him, the Marquez family had become friends with the Ursa family. It didn't matter whether they were partners or conspirators. In the end, the two families had become friends. After entering the residence of the current leader, Sam, Holden walked up to him and knelt on the ground. Sam had his hands behind his back as he stood in front of the window and looked at the vast and clear night sky outside. When you were born, your parents asked me to give you a nickname. I feel that the stars are quite good. Some can bloom with their own light, and some can use other light to bloom. So I gave you a single nickname, Star. What I mean is that I hope that you can fuse your own light with other people's light, allowing you to be more outstanding and more intelligent. In fact, you've done quite well these past few years. In the clan's internal strife, your performance was outstanding, and you were able to stand out. But you, Holden, seem to only know internal strife, right? People say that internal strife is a profession of internal strife. External strife is a profession of laymen. You really live up to your name. I thought that your actions this time would be outstanding, but your performance has disappointed me greatly. I allowed you to visit Quincy, but did I allow you to force him to smoke the cigarettes you gave him? Holden, do you think that winning in an internal fight in the family is something you are very proud of? Is it something because you are so Outstanding? Let me tell you, it's not that. It's because your opponent is too stupid. That's why it gives you the illusion that you are very smart and powerful. You have been studying the disciples of the same generation and your future opponents. But have you studied Zack in detail? Up until now, he had never participated in any internal fights, and even held the coming-of-age ceremony with disdain. Why? He doesn't fight for anything. Quincy thinks so highly of him, but he doesn't want to take over the position of family head. Why? Why? Because he knows very well what will happen to him after he becomes leader, and what he will experience before he becomes leader. This kid has never taken the initiative to attack. Every time, he only retaliates when he seems helpless. Whether it is his internal strife with Michael and Kyle, or when you cause trouble for the Wind Chaser brand, he will always solve the problem later on. You think you did a good job? When you were in the hands of the Marquez family, you made the first move. When Zack made the last move, he solved the problem and got the support of the Angler family. You made the first move again. When Zack made the last move, the Angler family was once again under his control. He didn't even need you to cause trouble. He used the power of his family to oppress him. He took the initiative to use you as an excuse and pulled the Ursa family to provoke the pressure. He successfully formed an inseparable relationship between the two families, and he did it openly. He didn't even try to avoid you. He was purposely torching your porcelain. Do you think that the Marquez family could exist for so many years because of Kyle and Michael? Let me ask you something. If it wasn't for the greater benefits, Zack wouldn't have been able to see through the hydrogen energy system. Could Quincy not see through it as well? Why didn't the old fox do this? Because he had already guessed that someone would try to snatch the meat from him. Now you are very smart. You couldn't wait to reach out and snatch the meat. I am very happy that you succeeded. But have you ever thought about it? If the Ursa family or other families were to obtain some kind of technology next time, would they think that they would be snatched away by the Mann family like the Marquez family? What did you describe the Mann family as? It was described as a bandit, and everything had to be ours. The old fox didn't do anything. He only allowed his grandson to entice him outside, and then he eagerly ran to bite the hook. You even proudly went to show off to the old fox, and even forced him to smoke cigarettes. He gave it to you. Why? Because he was in a miserable state. The leader of the Marquez family was forced by a junior of the Mann family to change his mind for the rest of his life. The Mann family is so domineering. The Marquez family is so pitiful. How dare you call me to show off after leaving the Marquez family? To show off that you made the old fox smoke a cigarette. Ah! Sam scolded him fiercely, then waved his hand angrily. Get lost! You are grounded for 2 years. Think about how much trouble you have caused the family on this trip. What Holden was most worried about was losing the trust of his grandfather because of Zack. But in reality, he was still tricked. He was forbidden to leave the island for 2 years. This meant that Sam no longer believed in his current ability. He didn't achieve anything, but instead, he had turned the reputation of the Mann family into a robber, a bully. Although these evil deeds didn't affect the public, they had a huge impact in the dark. Everyone started to keep a high level of vigilance towards the Mann family. Every family had good things, and every family had an old man. They were also afraid of being robbed, and they were also afraid that the old man would be bullied. Sat down on a rattan chair. He actually played such a trick and brought the polar bear to hit me. Not only did he hurt my face, he even took the opportunity to tie the polar bear to their own family. How sinister! Picking up his phone, Sam didn't need to turn over his contact details and directly pressed the number. Not long after, Quincy's voice came from the receiver. "Old thing! It's late at night! I won't sleep, even if you don't sleep!" Sam replied snappily. "Old fox, you are so happy right now that you are singing. Can you still sleep?" After Sam finished asking, there was no more sound from the phone. He was quite curious about what Quincy was doing and why he did not say anything. But immediately after, music came from the phone. Not only did Quincy play the music, he also sang along. He couldn't even find the GPS location for the tune, but he was so excited and shameless that Sam couldn't help but get angry. "Enough! I said you are fat and you are really out of breath. What are you showing off for?" Sam did not argue with him out of curiosity. He said again, "I say, old fox, this is not a trap you made for our little star, right?" Just as he said this, Quincy turned off the music on the phone. "You're already so old! You can't say things that are difficult for your stomach to hold back! Do you think I will fight with the younger generation?" His words were very unpleasant to hear. It was the truth. If Quincy really wanted to trip Holden, it would not be cheating Holden, but praising Holden. If he, an old fox in his 50s, went to trip Holden, then what could it be if it was not a praise for Holden? Sam also felt that it wasn't very likely that Quincy would do something like this. If that was the case, then it seemed like it was really Zach's own idea. "Then you're really crafty." It sounded like he was praising Zach, but Quincy had been fighting with Sam for more than half of his life. Therefore, he only benefited from it and did not suffer any losses. He replied, "Your grandson is also good. Very good." Sam, who did not gain any benefits, did not say anything more about this problem. Instead, he started to talk about proper business. "Little Star came to your door and forced you to smoke a cigarette. Is your Zach planning to come to my house and force me to drink? You must definitely drink wine. Zach is not as ambitious. He's a donkey. Don't force him to do anything. I can't even suppress him. Just do as you see fit." It sounded like the two old men were simply bickering. There was no more detailed conversation on the phone. In fact, after hanging up the phone, Sam felt relieved. He could only let Zach not cause any trouble. If Zach used the opportunity of working with Ursa to force Sam to drink, then this is a tie. When Holden forced Quincy to smoke, it brought benefits. So Quincy could be considered to be smoking a cigarette with a smile on his face. However, if Zach came to the door at this moment, it would be like giving someone a blow before forcing them to lower their heads. To Sam and Quincy, this was nothing. They had lived for a lifetime, and even if they lowered their heads, they would still look up. It was like sleeping and waking up with their eyes closed. It was not a big deal. However, in the eyes of their descendants, it was different. This was an insult, so it would inevitably lead to a targeted conflict that they could not suppress. Whether it was Sam or Quincy, they knew very well that if they really fought, the result would be quite tragic, and they wouldn't have a good ending. Therefore, Sam suppressed Holden, that had suffered a great loss, and he suppressed it for 2 years. But now, he was still worried about Zach's side. He was worried that Zach would be young and hot-blooded, so he had to grab the wine bottle and pour it back into his mouth. He, Sam, was not afraid of that little bit of wine. If he got drunk, he would just vomit it out. But he was afraid that he would not be able to suppress the descendants of his family. Therefore, after learning about Quincy's evaluation of Zach, he felt relieved. Quincy was telling him that the stubborn little donkey in his family was not as bad and was also a bastard, but he knew what was going on. At the same time, the stubborn donkey did not fight for it and did not fight for it, but it would fight back. There was even a faint hint of warning. If it came again to cause trouble, the stubborn donkey would be even more bastard. It was not that he could not suppress it, but he could not. It wasn't for any other reason, just because of Holden provoking him, one after another. He would let go of Zach and let him retaliate. Putting away his phone, Sam sat on the rattan chair and closed his eyes. Not long after, he muttered something. Zach left. After finishing his business, he left Angelina's side. When he returned to Canada, Sonny and Fred happened to come over as well. He had asked for these two from Mason. At the same time, Donovan's security company also sent people to train them. Sonny leading the team was not bad, not to mention Fred. After Zach, Sonny, and Fred exchanged pleasantries, they went to find Minnie. Mark's manor had also been tidied up. When Minnie saw Zach, she immediately knelt in front of him and kowtowed to him. This bow was received by Zach because Minnie was not thanking him on her behalf. She was thanking him on the behalf of her parents and brothers. However, Zach did not accept the second bow. You are my friend. Of course, I have to take care of your matters. Zach didn't hide his words in front of many people, even though Minnie had become the new master of the Angler family. Thank you, boss, for your kindness. I am not worthy. Episode 364. Birthday. Minnie insisted on calling Zach boss, so Zach did not say anything else. He knew that Minnie also had good intentions. Fortunately, he was not a person who adhered to formalities, so this matter was temporarily put aside. Everything on Minnie's side went smoothly. With the Marquez family as their backer, Mark's group fell once again. Even those who were secretly unhappy did not dare to say anything. Under such circumstances, even the Mann family had been slapped in the face and didn't show up to retaliate. How could they? They had the Marquez family as their backing, Taylor as their support, and Sonny and Fred as well as the Ursa family providing them with weapons. The current head of the Angler family, Minnie, was very powerful. Even if Mark didn't die, he would only obediently lower his head and admit defeat. He had no strength to resist. The Canada car companies had started releasing Zach's brand. As a chain reaction, the other cars started to reopen their sales in the US. When these car departments started selling, the so-called car instantly collapsed. The Mann family, which they were backed by, did not say anything. They even went against Zach and wanted to be heroes seeking death. All the car companies restarted their sales in the US. The issue of the after sales of the Wind Chaser was basically solved. Zach was not in a hurry to return to the US. He stayed at Minnie's place for another 3 days. On the fourth day, Zach said to Minnie, I should leave now. There are still a lot of things in the country I need to deal with. Minnie was a little reluctant when she heard that Zach was really leaving. Zach suddenly asked her about Mark's grandson. What are you going to do about it? Minnie replied, Let me take care of him. After all, he is still a member of the Angler family. Furthermore, he is still so young, so he can't remember anything. In the future, I will take good care of him and hope that he will become an outstanding successor of the Angler family in the future. Zach asked, Aren't you going to leave the leadership to Juniper? Minnie shook her head. No, Mark killed my parents. I have killed his family. I have committed a sin. Returning the position of the family head to his family was also a form of compensation. Also, I don't want Juniper to live the same life as me in the future. This kind of life, where both sides are stained with blood, is not something a woman should bear. It had to be said that Minnie's heart was very generous, and she had considered everything thoroughly. From Zach's perspective, this seemed to be the best choice. All the car companies returned to normal sales and were ready to continue operating. Regarding the matter of the alliance, Zach finally let out a long sigh of relief. On the surface, he was fighting with the alliance, but in reality, it was still the Mann family. This kind of thing was not as easy as he had imagined. He had to grasp the speed, counterattack, and solve the problem. Zach was not as relaxed as he appeared to be. In fact, he was very tired. He took advantage of this period of time to rest and relax for more than half a month. Until one day, Luna called him. "Let's have dinner together tonight. The seat is on your phone." Luna actually took the initiative to invite him to dinner. This was really a very rare thing. Zach naturally had no reason to reject, so he agreed readily. But when he went in the evening, he discovered that for dinner, Luna actually reserved the largest banquet hall in the 5-star hotel. It was just 2 people eating. Is there a need? Zach thought that there were only 2 people, but in fact, there were more than 2 people. Carson, Mac, Dusty, and the bosses of many car companies were all there. Everyone was gathered here, and no one knew which big shot would appear tonight. After that, Luna came out. She was wearing a black evening dress. The dress was adorned with starry diamonds, making her look as beautiful as a painting. She didn't dare to appear empty-handed. She even pushed a dining car, but there was no dinner on the dining car, only a 25-story cake. "Director Marquez, happy birthday to you!" Zach was stunned. Only now did he remember that today was his birthday. He had really forgotten that time passed too quickly and too many things had happened. He really did not remember his birthday time. But Luna clearly did not forget that she organized tonight's birthday banquet for Zach.